That like your royal history that's cooking up a storm, this particular building here behind me really is steeped in royal history. Many people think that this particular individual was rather responsible for one of the most, shall we say, startling affairs with the king of the time, Edward VII. As ever though, who are we talking about? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. As I know really from all of you that write to me in the comments below, we all like to know about royal past, don't we? What's gone on, where it's gone on before. And I always think it's fascinating because, as I've said to you many times here on the show, we all feel, don't we, that we're living in the moment. What we're doing is new, brand new, it's never happened before. But when you look back in history, particularly royal history, there's so much to unravel. And when you think, really, if you look at the problems that are happening right now in the world of royalty, all you're seeing is simply a repeat of history. We look back at the most recent times, but if you cast your mind back, perhaps over 100 years ago, to 1897, right here on this particular spot behind me, which is still a very luxurious London hotel called the Cavendish, royal, shall we say, drama was taking place. As ever, let me explain. Now, this particular lady here ran this hotel right through until 1952. She was based here from 1897 and she was deemed the cook of cooks, so much so rising to the very top of her profession. This caught the eye of the then king and she was asked to help put a banquet together for him. Now, as we all know, King Edward VII very much liked his food, and wasn't necessarily scrimping on courses. These courses could go up to 19, sometimes 25. The dinners and lunches could last hours. Rosa was an impeccable cook, but she didn't really want to just become a royal cook. She wanted to become a businesswoman. So she trained under the tutelage of an expert from France and became one of London's brightest cooks. Now, if you're not really sure of her story, it was turned into a phenomenally successful television series called The Duchess of Duke Street, starring Gemma Jones, and that was shown all around the world. It was during the period of the very first series, of course, of another successful drama, Upstairs, Downstairs. So the appetite for things like Downton Abbey simply never go away. Now, it's rumoured, of course, that Rosa herself got on that well with the king. They had an affair in the 1890s. And it's also rumoured that he was very helpful in saving the hotel from financial ruin as it fell into disrepair. Even after his death, she was able to trade on his name, although did so reluctantly. She produced cookbooks and was literally the cook that you wanted to make sure that your banquet became literally the talk of the town. She didn't necessarily like publicity, hence the reason, like some of other shall we say, ladies who were associated with Edward VII, like Lily Langtry, doesn't necessarily fit the bill as the foremost person. But as you come over here on Jermyn Street in the very heart of London, this plaque does remain and just slightly tentatively touches on that particular relationship. Now, apparently the king himself would often stop off unannounced, calling in for simply a cup of tea or coffee. The staff got so used to it, nobody batted an eyelid. And if you watch the series, The Duchess of Duke Street, a lot of the actual storylines are based on her own personal diaries, including the Porter Star, the old boy that looked after most of the hotel, and the dog too. Isn't it interesting to note that as we think in this 21st century world, we think we truly know all about royal scandals? Seemingly, everybody did know about this particular royal scandals in the heart of Edwardian London. But as ever, discretion was the key word. And also, let's not forget that Rosa Lewis was a respectable lady running a respectable hotel who seemingly just had a respectable relationship with His Majesty the King. If you're out and about in London and you want to come and see this plaque, or indeed go into the hotel for afternoon tea, I have no association with it, I'm not plugging it, and I don't make money from it. I'd just like to share these particular historical areas with you as we're out and about filming across London. And remember, it's all for free. Neil Sean, in, of course, the very heart of Mayfair, Jermyn Street, London.